Yo, Chiboyobli, and today we're just gonna be doing another My Hero What If. I actually just recorded a 20-minute video and it stopped recording because I pressed it by accident. So we're just getting into this. This is what if Deku had had magic and he would learn magic from Doctor Strange. And you know, from where we are. So at the beginning this would all start off with no Deku being Bring from school, still not being Bring. Oh, he's getting in his mom's car to go home, still not having a quirk, and still being bullied by Bakugo. And Deku and Deku, he ends up getting into a car accident with his mom and severely damaging his hands. And with that being said, this story would start off. Now, Doctor Strange, which is a hero that came from the US following a bad guy, a villain, you can say, to the US to Japan. And while he's flying with his cape, his levitating cape, um, he sees his car crash and can't prevent it. So that being said, you know, that, so that being said, you know, Doctor Strange saves them, and pretty much the cops get called and they go to the hospital. He sees the injuries of Deku and only of his hands, and he's like, "Damn, I won't let that happen to another person. This kid's like way younger than me when this happened." So pretty much, Deku's origin is pretty much um Doctor Strange's origin, but he's a child and doesn't have a surgeon job and doesn't have a quirk either. So he feels like he could have stopped this and he may have ruined this kid's life. So he uses his healing magic, which he probably doesn't even have, to heal Deku. And Deku is just basically traumatized by the pain, the horror, his hands being basically unusable. And how's he gonna? Nah, but that being said, he heals him and he says, "Do you have a quirk?" And he says no, and this just reminds him of himself when he was young and he didn't have a quirk and he had to become Doctor Strange to do what he does now. He says, "Do you want to become a hero?" And he says, "Yeah." He said, "Why do you ask? I can teach you to be a hero without a quirk." And so with that being said, So with that being said, of a continuation of Deku's mom being in the hospital, he goes outside of the hospital just to think about just what happened and the guy. And a man floats down to him, which is still Doctor Strange, and says, "I asked you earlier if you wanted to be a hero. You said yes. You don't have a quirk, so I'm gonna show you how I did." He basically brings him to a secret compound called cum 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 chow. What is it called? It's called
To Nepal, the sorcerer Caecilius and his zealots enter the secret compound Kamar Taj.
Kamar Taj. Yes. So they enter the secret compound Kamar Taj, and he learns magic there for 14 years. 14 years in there is only 14 hours. Soon, Inko gets discharged and is wondering where Azuku is. And that's when she finally gets outside and Azuku is back on the bench. He is fully ready in his mind that he's a hero because he has been training for 14 years. Probably longer than most people, non-stop. He didn't have to eat, he didn't have to do anything, he didn't question anything. He just made sure that he got done doing what he had to do. And with the time skip of the 11 months, the time skip of the 11 months, which he spent another, you know, which he spent, I don't even know the equivalent to 11 months in this version of this what if. So I'm just gonna say that one he spends 80 hours in there. Nope, that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, it would make sense. So he pretty much spends the whole 11 months in there. So until he has to come home and go to sleep. Ever since he wakes up, because he doesn't have to eat, and just goes and goes and basically trains in this in Camartage, where he can easily just have. So at this point, he has been training longer than All Might. So he's just as capable as being a hero as All Might. So if if Deku does not have to be, you know, since the car is wrecked, he doesn't get bring home. This is okay because he has his own cape that is black. His suit that is it's gonna be black. So yeah, he has his own black cape that can make him fly. And he can use it whatever he wants because he doesn't have a quirk and he's just using magic. So he's flying with his cape at high speeds. And, you know, soon when he's above his house or be able to see his house, he hears multiple explosions and he realizes that Bakugo is stuck within the sludge villain. And he laughs at this because Bakugo is the person that was bullying him his whole life, and seeing him desperate, you know, clinging on to his life, or at least trying to, was actually kind of funny. That he was basically talking a whole bunch of shit, and he's getting bodied by a villain that's not even strong, that has nothing but suffocating. No, having an explosion quirk and not be able to use explosions and from the inside of your body. Just saying, Bakugo. So yeah. So he easily saves Bakugo by by just you know pulling out his magic pallets and pulling Bakugo towards him, and he said like, "What's your name? What's your quirk? And you shouldn't be using it." Like, and he said, "One, I don't have a quirk, and I can do whatever I want, and I wasn't in harm's way. I didn't put anybody in harm's way because I just took him from the villain without coming close. Three, my name is Azuku Midoriya, and and I just got to do what I got to do." And that's when All Might sees that this kid is crazy good at what he does. But in this timeline, he doesn't follow him. He follows him, but he doesn't confront him. So he knows where Deku lives now. I guess. So yeah. And with Deku you know, being ready for the UA entrance exam, that's where he spent his 11 months. And that's where that's where he's in the entrance exam and he's in the practical one. And as soon as the gate opens, he starts running. And they're like, hey, come back, you're cheating. And he already has 35 points by the time anybody else starts running because President Mike says there's no countdowns in battles. So just follow the other kid. And basically, basically, instead, since he was chilling with Doctor Strange, he said, "Is there a way for me to fly without using that cape? Just using the same material from the cape, but instead just having it be a jacket." So basically, Deku, without using a cape, he would be able to fly with his jacket being open. So yeah, he would just be flying like he doesn't have a cape there, so it's just his shirt and his jacket. So yeah, he's pretty much bodied in every robot, and he's stacked up at least 76 points. And he knows that he's probably gonna get in the UA, and he hears a faint scream from for help. Um, he looks back and sees Uraraka about to be crushed by the zero pointer, and he uses all of his speed to he flies up to basically hit basically hit basically he used a small magic palette to basic di- di- so he using magic to enhance his strength. So he basically smacked the villain, and the villain got flew. And that's when, since he can fly, he easily floats down and saves Uraraka. And since he has magic healing, he can heal Uraraka without Recovery Girl doing anything. And he easily just flies away with everybody looking at him and being astonished. He knows he got in, and days later, he just opens the envelope and he sees that it's All Might telling him that he did amazing in there. And, well, basically, he's being congratulated. And he knows that he has gonna. And All Might tells him to enjoy his Hero Academia. So once he gets to his first official day of school, he uh, he is basically being crowded when he's coming to class. That he's the kid that saved the girl with ease and could fly. Basically, all they saw was him fly because they weren't really paying attention to him after he ran in. But basically all they saw was him fly and him punch the robot with a little small pallet that they couldn't notice. It wasn't big enough for them to notice, but it held a whole lot more strength with it. So yeah, and it's just like, what's your quirk? Your quirk is flying? Okay, I see. He said, "I don't. I no, it's not my quirk. I don't have a quirk." When he's at the door, and Uraka Uraka, taps him on his shoulder to thank him for saving her the other day. I guess you can say the other day, and thanking him like, "Oh, thank you for using your quirk to save me." And he said, "Yeah, no problem. I just don't have a quirk." Even like he just double backs on it, so he's like, it wasn't no mistake that he said he didn't have a quirk the first time. So yeah, you're like, really? Then what were you using? He just doesn't say anything and just walks away into the glass. So it's mysterious. So it's just as mysterious power. So no one knows what he can do. So yeah, ain't nobody really trying to mess with Deku at this point. So Aizawa says it took 8 seconds for y'all to shut up, and that's y'all. You didn't have to work on that. And well, he tells him to put on some UA PE clothes and or just tell them to put on their hero costumes actually. So puts on them your their UA PE clothes. And since Deku always has to wear the jacket for him to fly, so yeah, he puts on the UA clothes, but he's still wearing his his black and green jacket. Basically, it looks like Naruto's jacket with the green at the bottom and the black on top. So it looks like Naruto's jacket, but it's green and black this time. So yeah, with that being said, he's still wearing the jacket, and that's and when he since he got the highest score of like 145 points, he flies up in the air and throws the ball in the air and flies up even higher, and that's when he uses a magic palette that no one can really see because he's all the way up in the air, and he just uses it to increase his strength by 3,000. And this, and basically he just smacks the ball around the earth. So it went. So since he moved to the left in the air, it's still going around and on Earth. So when he floats down, it's still going in a circle and it hits for infinity. So yeah, and it hits for infinity. And everybody's astonished at his power. Even Aizawa and said, "Who is this kid and what is quirk?" Because Aizawa was pretty much sleeping, and you only hear, and he doesn't really hear anything after that. So yeah, he asked him what his quirk is, and he says he doesn't have one. And so Nani, what? And he asked him, and Aizawa asked him what was he doing, and Deku walks away, or at least he attempts to. And Aizawa uses he feels like he needs to know, so he uses his scarf to try to capture Deku. And basically, you know how in Naruto Sasuke is about to get it can like teleport with the Rinnegan and just teleport out of the grass to people. He basically does that, and he has Aizawa in his own scarf, basically when he's walking away. So he pretty much has him in his own trick, and he's like, "Nani? He's this fast?" And everybody's like, "Bro, he just crossed up a teacher, bro. He's finna get expelled. He just crossed up a teacher, bro. He just crossed up a teacher. That's crazy." And everybody's like, bruh, bruh. And Bakugo just scalps and said, I could have done it faster. Everybody kept looking at him like, is he your quirk explosion? I don't think so. Bakugo gets a little irritated, but he doesn't really say anything. And Aizawa is just astonished of the level of speed, the level of power. It's like he's been a pro for 33 years at this point. And he's like, what is this kid's training? He even says it out loud. He says, I've been training for 33 years in a time capsule. And everybody's like, what? Because since it's a secretive place, he can't really say the name, so he's just gonna call it a capsule for now. And you're like, what? So I'm basically a pro hero at this point. He's like, you've been training for that long? It would have been 33 years in the time capsule, but it only limits me. But in the real world, it was 33 hours. So about a day and 15 hours of for anybody on Earth. But in the time capsule, it just don't be like that sometimes. And he's like, what? Okay, yeah, okay. Just sit down. Just sit down. You're too strong. You're definitely get first place. And they get on to side lunges and everything. He gets first place and he even beats Ida instantly. Ida didn't even get the even didn't even gets the run. So yeah, he even get the run. He doesn't even finish the race either. He's like, he already beat me. There's no reason. So yeah, Ida gets a worser grade. And yeah, so with that being said, that was really just it for that. He gets first place on everything. And Uraraka piques his interest because she got Infinity on the ball throw too. So he's like, okay, I see. That's very interesting. And and once he's pretty much done for like that first day, and now for the next day, when All Might is supposed to be walking or running to the door, like in canon, instead of what do you call 'em? When All Might is walking, is running down the hall, and Deku says, "Hi, All Might." Then All Might comes in there, and that's where he announces the hero versus villains thing, same setup and everything. So Deku's plan is for Uraraka to hop on his back and to fly to the fifth floor window, open it, and come in when Bakugo is coming after us, even though we're not even in the building. And when they're doing this and they're in the fifth floor, and they're on the fifth floor, Deku just charges at Ida with immense speed and uses some magic to basically paralyze him, just for him to stop moving for like 50 seconds so he can be able to touch the bomb and he'll be easily be able to win. And this all happens in about 30 seconds. So this is the fastest match, in human history. And it's like, Nani? And they're like, nah, okay. This ain't it, Chief. This just ain't it. Do they actually want us to try like at this point against him? They do their matches and it goes pretty much the same. And 2 weeks later, they go to the USJ. With that being said, they get attacked by the League of Villains at the USJ, and the Momo is there off the bat, and Aizawa can sense what just knows how many quirks people have. It's kind of useless because most people only have one quirk, and he can confirm that Deku doesn't have a quirk at all. And he looks at the Nomu and says, "Okay, yeah." He uses his power to delete one of the Nomu's quirks, making them significantly weaker. Then he does it for another two more tries. So he has no quirks, so he's just basically a big dummy. And Aizawa goes for him first, so he basically blitzes the Nomu, and Aizawa totally no basically kills it with one hit because it's so weak. It's just a big dummy. And you're like, how did you beat him? So yeah, that's pretty much the end of that. Um, Deku, Deku and Aizawa pretty much take care of the heroes. Take care. They take the DK quirk from from the guy with the many hands away forever. Because Aizawa can do that in this one if he's way powerful. So yeah, he can't use his quirk ever, and no, they still escape with him having a recoil and not being able to take the guy with the portal quirk away. So he says, "I will catch him one day." And so with that being said, with another time skip for 2 weeks, they have to train for uh for the UA Sports Festival. Basically, at the beginning of the 2 weeks, you know, Uraka and Deku are pretty good friends in this. So Deku offers to train Uraka in some martial arts, cause Deku would have to know that. No, he been basically training in a capsule for a good 33 years, and he basically takes her and her only to the legendary secretive compound. Now he does get scolded to this and to, for this, and he doesn't really care. And basically, he trains with her for another mm, for another 33 years, which would be 66 for Deku and 33 for Uraka, basically tightening their relationship. And they did, bro. They've been girlfriend and boyfriend at this point. It been 33 years at this point. There's nothing else to do other than train and not and just bring together the relationship. So there's really nothing else to do with it. So yeah, and 33 years it's only 33 hours in the real world. So they pretty much have all their training in about a day and 15 hours. So yeah, they don't really train for the rest of the 2 weeks. So when they come out of the secretive place that I'm not going to name again because I forgot. No, Uraka is way stronger. Her power is going to be presented at the UA Sports Festival. Not gonna tell you anything. So, with a time skip of 2 weeks to the UA Sports Festival, you know, Deku Deku is basically just excited to do this. And it all starts off with the race. And at this point, it's four of them neck to neck. It's Uraraka, Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki all neck to neck, at the end of the race. And it all ends up at Deku becoming first, um, Uraraka second, Todoroki third, and no, Todoroki fourth to make him even madder, and Bakugo third. And Bakugo, he's just mad that he got beat by a girl. And that's when he tries to explode, you know, Uraraka, cause he just don't like her at this point. He said, "How dare you even try to beat me?" And that's when she just totally uses her. She totally just grabs, Bakugo's arm and it just totally stops his explosion. Basically, grab his whole hand, and the explosion dissolves into nothing. He even taught her a little bit of magic, so she knows certain moves, but not much. I mean, because she was really only being trained by Deku. And Deku's kind of the chosen one, so he can do most of the moves, but everything, but she can only do half of them. So she knows how to fly. Um, her own palettes, which would be pink, I guess. I don't know. It's the color of her suit, so I'm just gonna say pink. So yeah. So yeah, for the first thing, he's immune to mind control. So he totally just has a full blown conversation with Shinzo. Shinzo survives that his quirk is not working. And he's saying, "Oh, you're so lucky that you have a quirk that can make you become a hero." And Deku says, "I don't have a quirk," and Deku is flying, and that's when Deku is flying just where he can totally just kick Shinso into the air. I mean, kick him into the ground out of the stadium. So he easily wins the first round with ease, and this just hypes the crowd up. I mean, dang, I just skipped the race. Well, the cavalry battle. Well, let me just tell you about the cavalry battle. The cavalry battle was pretty much Deku and Uraraka and them alone. So basically, it was kind of like, I don't even know how this would work, but it was just Deku carrying Uraraka again, because one of them would have to fly, and and dude easily would not be able to get targeted because they're in the air. So with that being said, they pretty much did that, and that was the first match for the 1v1s. So with that being said, you know, since that was pretty much that, Yeah, so with that being said, he pretty much does the same. So I guess Bakugo and Uraraka's match is up next. Uraraka is a lot faster and stronger because he's been training for 33 years. And Bakugo feels like he can do this with one AP shot. So he pretty much uses 75% of his power, all of his energy, basically all of his energy, on one attack. So Uraka uses her speed and her strength to, and Bakugo's lack of energy to her advantage to easily body Bakugo. Now, this fight doesn't really matter because Bakugo's Bakugo, and he doesn't really matter to anybody except for like Hiroshima or something. But no one really cares about Bakugo. Bakugo easily gets bodied by a girl. He calls for a rematch. No, 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 I'm not gonna get bodied by a girl. He still gets bodied by a girl. Yellow tape around his body. He got bodied by a girl. He might as well just be dead. So yeah. Now, who's up next for our match is Todoroki and Uraraka. Todoroki versus Uraraka. Todoroki and Uraraka. So why am I saying it over and over again? I don't know. The match would start with Todoroki using only his ice, and no, pretty much since she's like a kind of like a defender, and she can just use all of her speed and strength for her attacks and not magic. So she would just she would just learn barrier magic, which barrier magic would just keep people in place. So she would put barrier magic on Todoroki once she would get close enough to do so. Since Todoroki cannot really move, she's just dealing hard hitting blows. So pretty much, no, she throwing blows that broke Todoroki's arm, bro. So this Todoroki just even gets even more mad and uses more ice, and Uraka just swatting away the ice like Deku did in Canon, but a lot easier and a lot more faster without breaking bones. And she's using barely any energy because everybody has magic energy. You just have to be in the secret compound to unlock it and use it. So she's just using her magic energy to body Todoroki for this whole match. And Todoroki, he getting some hits and nothing really, yeah, nothing really serious. And that's where she uses her pointer magic. Pointer magic is basically using a ball of energy to throw it at people at high speeds. So that's when she flies up and uses pointer magic. And basically, she pretty much points her finger at at Todoroki like she was Frieza or somebody, and basically has a bunch of some pink energy into some type of spare type energy blast and shoots it through Todoroki's eyes. Shoots it to for Todoroki's eyes, winning Todoroki versus Todoroki versus Uraraka. Now this, no this, now this is her being happy for about 5 seconds until she realizes that President Mike says. So it's Ochaku Uraraka versus Azuku Midori. So pretty much it's whoever who gets first place at this point. And she goes into what to into the room that she was in, the same room that she was in when she lost. She goes in there, and Deku meets her in there, and they pretty much like no hard feelings. If whoever who wins, no hard feelings. No, they basically agree on that, and then not fully no kill each other. Just, just, just don't go for the kill. That's pretty much the only rule that they kind of have. Don't go for the kill. So yeah, this battle will start off with President Mike saying "Go." You know, mm, they pretty much both fly up just like 15 feet in the air, and they just have a quick little clash. And with their speed, Deku's speed is a lot better and faster because he had 66 years he had 66 years of training. Because before he took Uraraka to the compound, he had 33. With another 33, he had 66. So, that being said, he's a lot faster and stronger. But that don't mean that she ain't getting no good ass hits in, okay? That's the point where Deku does kind of like a whole flip in the air, like a back one, basically to kick Uraraka in the head, sending her flying down into the stadium. That's when he fully floats down to the stadium, and that's when she gets a big hit in to the to Deku's back, basically. She instantly gets there. She gets a little bit faster because then Kai boost, and she basically punched his arm out of his socket, and that's where basically that's where Deku trips her, just sweeps under the leg so she falls, and Deku does a flip, puts his arm back in place, and everybody in the crowd are just seeing like a dance of just like basically a dance of a fight. It's all just so well coordinated because they know how each other fight just as well. It's like it was. It's almost like they're not actually fully trying to fight each other, even though they actually are. They're just predicting everything, so they never really land like more than a couple of hits in. So this is basically the highlight fight of this. So this is being recorded over YouTube, getting millions and millions of views. So that my arm. Well, so with that being said, this fight is going on for like 23 minutes, and the crowd is not getting bored. The crowd is not booing. The crowd is ecstatic that a fight is going on for this long, and it's just so cool looking. And they both use some pointer magic. They both use some pointer magic. Deku's being green and Uraraka's being pink, using some pointer magic to do a final clash. They do a final clash with just a little bit more power. Pretty much, they're pretty much desperate to win. They're on their last legs. They're pretty much desperate to win at this point. So they use whatever power is left. And since they're so fast, this is unexpected for all of a sudden using power like this. And they fully do that Naruto and Sasuke thing when they take each other's arm away. When the smoke clears, Inko and Inko is watching this on TV, and so is Uraraka's parents, and they're seeing they're just seeing this hand to hand combat never seen before. And when the smoke clears, you can see both of their arms gone. But there's something different. Uraraka is not in the stadium, but Deku is. So Deku, wins, but he still has no arm. And it was a match that he could easily, if he could survive, if he had like killing intent. Either of them could have even easily killed each other if they had killing intent. So they're not at the same strength level, but she can do damage to the point where if they were going for killing intent, even though Deku would win in a fight like that, Deku would basically die straight after because there's nobody that can really heal him. And if they took away his dominant arm, he can't really heal with one arm because he's not really advanced in healing magic. So yeah. So so basically, Deku gets first, Uraraka second, and Todoroki third. And Todoroki is even more angered that he got beat by a girl that he knew that was scrawny, bro. How in just 2 weeks did she get so much power? But no, but Deku is still standing, so he was clearly a victor. Totally fine with his arm being gone. Totally fine. I mean, if the arm is fully obliterated, they can't put it back together. But the arm was basically severed, you can say. So it was basically severed. So yeah, fully standing with a smirk on his face, he said, "Hmm." And the crowd cheering like they never cheered before. This is a fight that they never seen before. And even though the League of Villains are like such wasted potential, they could have been villains. Don't you realize that they were on our side? Uh, we would be godly, or they would, but still, we would easily be able to beat All Might with ease, double ease. You realize that, right? That just that one kid in the green took out Arnomu with his teacher, and he was doing most of the work. So you can even say he was doing it one-handed or with no help. Ugh, we're just gonna have to ruin All Might. That's the only way that we can get more people on our side. I need to tell All for One about a plan. So basically the plan is to manipulate villains, to manipulate heroes, or just basically everybody in Japan to think that heroes are the bad people. And how they're gonna do this is say that that All for One is quirkless, and he was just gonna let All Might punch on him. And he even says that All Might is so weak that he probably won't be able to kill him if he was actually quirkless. He says I have not did anything to anybody this whole day, and you are yet still attacking me when I'm just a regular civilian. I have not committed any crimes yet, so I am not a criminal. Even though he technically would be, because if you count all the times he killed people mercilessly with his power, and said, yeah, I may have committed crimes yesterday, maybe even the day after today, and maybe even the day after today, but I have not done any today. And basically, this statement changes everybody, changes people, and like, dang, was Hero Killer Stain? And was he really truly right? Are heroes just in it for the money and the fame? And even some people started joining the villains. 66% of people with you know, people 60. There's like 66%. They went up by like 20, like 30%. It was 70% heroes, 30% villain, but now 66% villain, and like 40% are like 35% heroes. Because even some heroes even left and just went to become villains, and this would end up in a final, battle, a final battle. And this was pretty public. So all for one says, even if I wasn't quirkless, even if I'm if I'm not quirkless, I'm not using my quirk. And if we actually fight tomorrow, if I win, if I win, you can't be a hero anymore. Not to come over to our side, no, to resign. And All Might holds this up and says, okay, he knows that he's going to lose. He knows that there's nothing else for him to do. He doesn't really want to fight this fight. He doesn't really want to fight this fight because just that people, the higher ups, they tell like the government, yeah, you're gonna have to fight this fight, or even if you do end up dying, and this is what happens with a fight between All Might and All for One. They're going at full power from the beginning, so All Might is horribly beaten. All for One is so too, but not as much. All Might is All Might is slowly dying during this fight. In like pretty much midway through the end, he coughs up blood and dies. That's when it's like, maybe we are wrong again. We just let the number one hero die. We thought the villains were correct. And that's where, All for One explains that he was dying anyway with his sickness, with a sickness of an unknown disease that could not be healed. And it was like, okay, the villains were right, and Deku Deku. Everything that happened in canon, he even knows the story of All Might. He knows that because Doctor Strange, he was there. He wasn't in the fight, but he knew and he saw, and he told Deku about this. So Deku has to expose it. He has to expose it. And with Deku, you know, basically flies and gets there and said, "Stop lying, all for one. You know that you're the reason why he has a quote unquote sickness. You're the reason why he had to cough up blood mid fight and die. Because you injured him 10 times. Because you injured him to the point when can't even use his quirk. He can't even use his quirk for about an hour. This fight went on for 2 hours, and yet you still blame it on a sickness that's unrelated to you or the fight that happened 5 years ago that was never recorded, never seen, and never heard of. I wonder why you would say such lies. And, you know, basically, he gets exposed for being a capper. He got capped. And that's when, everybody in Japan or anybody that has a quirk is all, fighting against them. So everybody in UA is fighting against them because everybody in UA is watching this. So they all, go there and they all fight. Japan fights against one all for one. And all what they're screaming is for all might, for all might. And he said, All Might may have not been the best person, but he still taught us all something. Always make sure we go beyond plus ultra. Pretty much, this is the end of this. This is the end of it. This is it. Because this all happens after this all happens pretty much the day after um the sports festival. So nothing else that happens in the actual canon would happen here because this would be the end. This would be the end. Just with a couple of months. Beating the world's greatest or the world basically the best I can't really say this. The most dangerous villain in there. Pretty much everything goes as per normal, and Deku becomes the number one hero, with Uraraka becoming the number two hero, laws being changed, and Deku and Uraraka living life ever and happy ever laughter and ever. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed, like, and subscribe. It's pretty much ended pretty quickly, you know? But for real though, like and subscribe, make sure you hit the bell, tell your friends about this video so I can get more exposure. And yeah, thank you for tuning in for 58 minutes. This is the end of this. This is Openly What Ifs, and I am